when can they come in and vote in person?
I know, I've had people ask me, I had someone say, oh, my kid's gonna be home from college this weekend, can they pick up a ballot? And I said, no, but they can order one, and I give them the address to go to, so.
Yeah.
It's October, second week in October that you'll start?
We're hoping around October 5th.
Yeah.
As long as we have the ballots in.
All right, we're all set on YouTube.
All right.
Okay,
I think we're live streaming now.
Yep, we're good.
So I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Rules and Policies Committee. Thursday, September 10th, 2020. It is 4:05 p.m. We are meeting virtually. Tody, will you please call the roll?
Council Clucci?
Here.
Council Katarina?
here.
And Council Gleistein?
Here.
Okay. Also present is Liam Gallagher and Tom Hall.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Item number 3 is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 10th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
So Tody, will you call the roll, please?
Council Clucci?
Yes.
Council Katarina?
Yes.
Council Gleistein?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4 is to review the work that we have done related to putting forward a charter process and a charter charge. And Liam and Tom especially, I think, took our work and turned it into 2 documents, which I hope that you have both seen. So I think, unless there's a preference by anyone, we could go over, would you bring up first, Liam, the action plan? Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You can do either. Yep.
Action plan first. So does anybody have, or John or Jean Marie, do you have any comments or questions or changes that you think need to be made to the action plan?
I didn't see anything other than there's a couple of blanks in there. I guess we have to talk about, like,
Okay.
having to do with timing. Like, I'm looking at, thank you, Liam, for putting this up, because I can't find my copy of it. Town will use channels of communication, blah, blah, blah. And it says, last sentence, notification of applications and acceptance of applications will take place over, and I guess, how many week period do we want to
Right,
put in
and
there for
especially-
the application period?
Right, especially because there's a proposed time frame for when we would charge the committee.
Right.
So Tom had proposed, and I think, so this is related, it's not an exact answer to that question, because I certainly think that's worth discussion. But Tom made a good point, I think, that the town takes applications all the time for committees. And so, Tom, maybe you'll say better than I, but you were going to modify the application a little bit and then probably just put it out there to start taking applications even without the charge ready, because we know it'll be somewhere between 5 and 9 members. It's probably going to be what we recommend, whatever we recommend today. But taking applications would get the process started. So,
Sure.
Tom, I'll let you kind of chime in on that if you don't mind.
No, not at all. I think with this, because it's not a special standing committee, we would do a separate communication plan around it, as this bullet suggests, using social media and all means possible. So, yeah, to your point, I think there's no harm in starting that and starting to collect interested parties. My past experience, and I think Tody could probably confirm this, is that this is a real unique thing, and so it's not for everyone. This may require a little cajoling and recruiting, if you will. And so I do encourage you to give some thought to that, to encourage folks. It's just a really unique effort that they're undertaking. It's fairly mundane to some, but hugely important, as we all know. So getting the right people on here is really important in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to start that already. We're on a path at this point to have the council workshop this next Wednesday. That's what Paul would like to do. And depending on the results today from this committee meeting, I think that's quite likely. And then the path that we had laid out is having the charge and action plan adopted on October 7th. So I would think by the end of October, we should have sufficient time to look at applications and go through some sort of selection process and make appointments, maybe at the first meeting in November.
Right.
So to fill in that blank, if that path seems somewhat reasonable, we could say over a 4-week period.
Or let's see, I mean, if we were gonna take them all the way through, when we actually got to the charge, which we're saying, we think would be October 7th, right?
Yes.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And then what meeting were you thinking that we would start looking at the applications?
I mean, I think you could go so far, because this is an action plan, to be very granular. You could add an extra sentence here to say, it is anticipated the town council will make final appointments at the October whatever meeting.
Well, that's why I was gonna say, do we want to say over a certain period of time, or we want to say they're due back by a certain
Yeah.
date?
I was thinking that same thing, Jean Marie, a deadline.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, you got an election coming in right there. You might,
Oh,
go for
yeah.
several new counselors that haven't been able to review the applicant list yet.
Yeah, I just hate to, you're then pushing it all the way to December effectively. So you're losing another month to do so.
Unless you have the appointment happen before the election, I guess.
Right. In which, this current council will still be seated at the first meeting in November.
Oh, that's
That's
fair.
true.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I think that's a reasonable target.
So should we say that we want what's the Friday before that meeting? There's a date to get applications returned.
October
Yeah.
30th.
Friday before the November 4th.
I think you better give yourself a couple of weeks, because if we do it like we did community center, you met an executive session and did a
Oh,
fairly
yeah.
exhaustive review. So, I would change this last sentence to say notification of applications and acceptance of applications will take place immediately.
All applications are due by?
Right, all applications are due by, and what's the Friday before that?
Like October 9th, would you say? I mean, if we did that, that would be the week, the 14th would be a meeting, which, we're not gonna, so which meeting were we targeting for the charge, Tom?
October 7th.
Oh, the 7th, okay.
But again, we'll start soliciting applications right away. I don't think we need to wait for that.
Yeah, so the 9th would be, how many weeks would that be?
What if we said October 16?
Yeah, that's what
We
I'm
have a regular
thinking.
meeting on the we meet on the 7th and the 21st. So the council meets on the 7th and the 21st. Now,
Yeah.
correct? So that would give us, and if we advertised it, if obviously the kind of public component to this, the full council launches on September 16, then it gives a full month for applications to be due.
Yep. I think that makes sense.
I was kind of thinking the 9th because that we'd be able to get them to counselors for that week, to review.
I guess maybe we're disconnecting here. I think you can my envision is you adopt the charge, you make the appointments at some later date.
Right.
You don't do them all at once.
Mm-mm. Plus, you want to make sure people understand what it is they're signing up for. And you know how it is. People always wait to the last minute for things. So I'd rather give them a little more time than less and not rush this because it's an important.
Just put immediately there, Liam. Just so, begin immediately.
Yeah,
And then you could,
cut that.
all applications due by October 15th. That's a Friday,
16.
It's a Thursday, 16th.
16th. And the next sentence could say, it is anticipated town council will make final appointments at the November 7th meeting.
Yeah.
November 4th.
Okay, I beg your pardon. I don't have my calendar.
I mean, we're going to meet on the 21st. Is there any reason to
Yeah, that's kind of what I
Have
was
a
thinking.
3-week gap?
October 9th, because we're meeting on the 21st. We may be able to do it on the 21st.
Why don't you say no later than the November 4th meeting?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay, so that gives you the opportunity to do the 21st if we get our act in gear. And again, this is aspirational, and I think it's just important for everyone to have some expectations out there.
Right.
I mean, that would be moving at light speed, frankly.
Yeah.
We should be proud if we can keep that schedule.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So then I think the next one would be for our committee to recommend to town council, and of course, council could always change it, but whether or not we're recommending June of 2021 or November of 2021 for the referendum vote.
For what it's worth, in the charge, I put June as kind of the expectation with an out clause, so to speak. So I don't mean to suggest that you need to go with that, but it's not inconceivable that they can get their work done in time for that.
What concerns me a little about June is the turnout.
Well, it's an off year,
Yeah,
So-
November is an off year too.
right? But
Yeah.
barring any, we don't know if there'll be referendum questions from the state.
Yeah.
The only thing that will be on the ballot if local level would be the school budget.
You know, we've been pretty consistently at least 5,000 ballots cast, haven't we? Even in the
Yeah,
slowest of times.
Yeah, I like the June date because the town is very focused on town issues, the school budget. And, you know, I think it gives us a good opportunity that spring, if the timing works out, to, you know, get people involved in not just the budget, but also the charter and how the charter interacts with the budget.
And frankly, if there's not a lot of other clutter on that budget, it gives you a chance to do some more education around what the charter changes are, as opposed to a busy ballot for national and state issues. It can get lost.
But we may not make it. It's a target.
just take into consideration though, the ballots have to be printed. So
Yep.
we can have May absentee voting, and it takes at least, let's see, April would, the council would have to, my proofs would have to be to
Sure.
the printers. So you're looking at probably the end of March, 1st of
Yeah.
April for ballots to, I mean, everything to have to be completed by this committee.
Sure. And in the charge, I have March 2021 as the
Okay.
target. Yeah.
Perfect.
So is there agreement that for purposes on this action plan, we indicate June 2021?
Yeah,
Good for me.
Okay.
John?
Yeah, let's target that. We'll talk about it at council again. I honestly would
Yeah.
need to give it a little more thought, but it seems like it's possible.
Right.
Especially if we form the committee in November, that's probably sufficient time for them to do their work.
Right. And remember, Paul is scheduled a workshop for us, so we can discuss that at the workshop too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so was there anything else on this charter review action plan that anybody saw that we should talk about?
mm-mm.
I just think it's an excellent document, and thank you very much to
Yep.
the committee, because you guys had lots of great ideas, and then to Tom, who drew it up. And we talked about it maybe trying to be one document, but I think it turned out better as two separate documents.
Yeah, I don't think I actually added anything. I took some things away from it because they're contained in more detail in the charge itself. So we've not lost anything, but you're right. They appear in two different documents at this point. And I think they work well together, frankly.
Yeah, I do too. A great job on that first document. Really appreciate it. So the next one is the charter review committee for the charge. We talked about maybe doing the charge later, but Tom suggested, and I think we as a committee also said, it seemed really important to go ahead and get the whole charge so that the council would have a charge to look at. So did anyone have input or questions or things that they thought should be changed about the charge?
Liam, do you mind scrolling down?
Well, and Liam, you're opened in docs, so there's some formatting issues that have not translated well. It's a Word document.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure if you can open the Word version just because
I think if we can, I guess my suggestion would be that we work in this document because we can make live changes to it. And then we'll revise the formatting issues that I think will be apparent to most of us.
all right, well, just appreciate wherever there's a whereas, bold and caps, that's kind of a separate paragraph, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah, I've got the Word copy that I printed, and it's very well formatted. So it looks really good.
Okay.
I had, I didn't see any changes after Tom did this. I had a couple of minor ones, one being a tiny little typo, but I thought it was really well done.
I do have a couple of things I'd like to flag for you and get your reaction to, if I could,
Okay.
Madam Chairman. Under membership and appointment, I've talked about demographic diversity, full and fair representation of the community, and where possible, having unique interest or expertise in local government structure or governance. And that's the public administrator in me. Ideally, it'd be great to have someone that, understands what a charter is fundamentally and really has the, not just aptitude, but the appetite to kind of get into the governance, because it gets a little bogged down. We may not be so lucky. Does that accomplish everything you want? There also was some conversation around geographic representation, and I did not include that here. Not for any reason.
It is. The membership will
You
include
did.
geographic and demographic diversity. Yeah.
It is. Okay, good. I guess the other point I'd raise is just scroll down, Liam. I have the council doing the actual appointments.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's good. And
So
I think,
I like that part. The first one, though, I thought it might be a little specific. Or maybe it should say should instead of will include
Yes,
geographic and demographic diversity and full and fair represent. I mean, it's going to be appointed by the council, which
Yep.
uh,
I totally agree with that. Should.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep.
Okay.
Because we'll do our best, but it's going to depend on
Right.
the applicant pool.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if you have an overabundance of applicants, but I hope I'm wrong there.
Yeah.
and then, like you said, it's kind of a dry topic, and so there's right. It's probably a limited pool that would get into this and be able to really dive in and do it well. So.
The other one I'd point out is further down on deliverable. What I'm asking for is that their deliverable be presented in the form of specific amendments. So they actually come forward with specific language that they would propose, and further ask them to provide some sort of position statement or explanatory statement kind of for context, just to appreciate, why it's coming forward. I just think that might be helpful for you as you consider. And then finally, I want to drive the point home that the council retains that sole discretion as to whether any or all of the proposed amendments make it to the voters.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yep.
And then I guess two more points I just raise to your attention would be under staff resources. Tony, you can probably speak to this more definitively than I can, but my understanding is that the town attorney must be present for all their proceedings.
Yes.
And that's really just to be, the legal resource to them.
Right.
They may wish in discussion to do things that aren't legal and,
Right.
not for the wrong reasons necessarily. So we would make efforts to have the attorney at every proceeding that they have.
Yep.
And Tony and I, or both, will be at most, if not all.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, I just bring to your attention under meetings and records. I added some language in the downtown charge that might be pertinent here. I said in that one that all meetings of the committee shall be public meetings with proper notice provided and the opportunity for public comment at each proceeding. Would you like that kind of language here to make sure that the committee knows that every time they get together, it's a public meeting, public has the right to attend and to offer comment? Okay, I can add that language. I can get that to you, Liam.
Yep.
And then on the preceding paragraph, it's highlighted in or underscored in blue where it says meets. I think that should just be a single meet.
Yes. The blue means something's wrong with it. Yep. Good catch.
So does anyone have anything else?
No, I think this looks great. Thank you, Tom and whomever put this together. It's clear, concise, and let's get this rolling.
And Tom, can you help me out here? Do we need to make a motion to pass this to council? Or do we just pass it on?
Yeah, I think it's always helpful. So the minutes have a record that the committee did vote to pass this on to council. And you could do a
Okay.
combined motion that would include both the action plan and charge, if you like.
Okay, does anyone want to take a stab at a motion?
I will, I guess.
Thank you.
Liam, I need you to scroll back so I
Yeah.
can see the names.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with the first one?
Yeah, I move that this committee accept the charter review action plan as drafted and the, what is it called? The charter review committee charge?
Yeah, I think charter
Wanna-
review.
And
It doesn't have
as
the word
drafted,
charge,
to move to town council, I guess. I may have repeated myself twice, but
Or maybe with minor, or we don't have to say minor, but with discussed changes from the rules and committee. So we put a
Yep.
couple
I don't know if you need to say that, but
Okay,
that's,
good.
you know, if you
All right,
want to put
yep.
it in there, that's fine.
It's understood.
Yeah, no, all right, okay. So do you mind trying that one more time, repeating that? I goofed it up for you, Jerry. Sorry about that. I screwed it
Oh,
up.
God. Okay. I move that this committee accept the charter review action plan and the charter review committee charge for presentation to the town council.
John, would you like to
Second.
second? All right,
Sure.
awesome, thank you. Is there any discussion?
None for me.
All right, Tody, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Clucci,
Yes.
Counselor Katerina,
Yes.
and Counselor Gleisty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, item number 5, I think this is the town council agenda order. If you recall, the chair and the co-chair asked that the agenda order be changed, but I believe we could do this in ordinance if you're willing, Jean Marie. It's 302.
It doesn't need to go to ordinance. It's not an ordinance. Isn't it a rule of the, I could be
Well,
wrong.
It's rule of
So
law.
do what?
Actually, I think it's this committee specifically that would be responsible
Yes.
for amending.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but Tom, you had a different opinion on
Well, I
that,
mean,
right?
it's technically an ordinance, but its purpose is rules
Yeah.
and procedures for the council. So I think it's right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think we've been historically moving it, right after the warrant at the beginning. And I talked to the chair and the co-chair just in anticipation of this and said, would you like to have it say, it's up to the chair to place it? And they said, no, they just want it moved. They
Yeah.
want it there, and that they'd like the policy changed. Because there is still a way to amend the agenda, which is fine, but they would like to move that to that location.
So where does it go?
So, I
did
thought we
em-
were gonna,
I
Go
did
ahead.
email earlier. You all should have gotten an email from me that showed recommended spot.
Yeah, she moved it to item 8.
Yeah.
and
It
then
would
you
be
okay.
right
put it
after
down.
treasurer's warrants.
Okay.
right after treasurer's warrant, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've got your email here. Sorry.
And that's where we've been doing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's working out great.
Yeah. I
like-
mean, I don't have an issue with that.
I like to do it when people were sleeping.
Oh, come on.
You would. but-
And the people who want to quote you in the paper don't have to listen to the recording as long now, Tom. could
Well,
just
we're making the local journalist job really easy, right?
really easy. They don't even have to scroll forward now.
So it's
So
a simple amendment if someone would be willing to make a motion in that regard.
So I'd be willing to make a motion.
Yeah, I will. I'll try it. Make a motion to move the town manager's report from in section 107 sub 15, from sub 15 to sub 8, and everything beyond that to move down in number. Does that sound right?
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll second.
Yep. Is there any more discussion?
No.
Tony, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Pucci,
Yes.
Counselor Katarina,
Yes.
Counselor Glystein.
Yes.
Thank you. That was unanimous.
And then, oh boy, my thing flipped over for my agenda just flipped. I don't know where it went. Went to a different screen.
There it is.
I think we have public comments from the public next, or did we? I took off future items just because I didn't think that we had any, but I probably should have left it on there in case you guys had future items that you wanted to discuss. So I apologize for that. But we can do kind of public comments and council and committee comments at the same time. Do we have anybody on the line, Liam?
We have no attendees.
Okay, so then we can be the public. Is there anything that I think, that maybe something can come up that we could email about and decide, to meet again, but is there anything you guys have that you know of that you'd be interested in taking a look at?
I don't have anything.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
No,
So
it-
for
it-
now, we'll be suspended unless something comes up, and then we'll schedule something via email.
Mhm.
And I think we'll just stay kind of flexible on the time and the date,
Yep.
because there's so many things that are changing all the time for all of us.
Yep.
And this meeting got put in by looking at all the other meetings that were getting caught up. So I really appreciate you guys attending and making the time to be here today.
I appreciate that. I'll just share a conversation I had with the council leadership because we're launching a number of initiatives. This, charter being one, downtown process and committee, GMO, comp plan. We're all going to have a busy fall and probably first quarter of next year. So to the extent that your committees, these standing committees, can dial back a bit, so staff and all of you have time to devote to these other initiatives, which have been priorities of this council, I think that will make perfect sense. So I appreciate that, meet as needed, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, if there's nothing further, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All right, hearing none. Tony, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Pucci,
Yes.
Counselor Katarina,
Yes.
and Counselor Glystein.
Yes, and I'm going to go catch